it had to be a fresh look. Because now we're dealing with something else. We're now back on LV46, and there was the complex where it had been colonised, so it was a different concept from the spaceship in which they were in Alien. The complex obviously was a big deal. That was up on E stage with the North Tunnel. We would have liked to have built a double deck, obviously, on the complex, but budget would have always hammered us, that we couldn't build 2 decks. The money expended on the set would have been gigantic, but we did have sufficient length. That was what I was always looking for, because we had about, nearly 400 feet to play with, so the corridor was gigantic. And as we came into the main stage, we then could branch out right or left, with corridors going off, the kind of medical section, the main section, the living quarters. It was all on the one set. Jim had done some sketches of how he wanted it. He used to do what I do, shall I say. And so we got down to things. So we did start, obviously, elements. The biggest thing we found is the look. What can you find? You can't build everything, because we were very limited for budget. And one of my art directors, Mark, he had knowledge of some people in Slough, which is a local community to here, where they did a lot of injection moulding in plastic. And you do get a lot of rejects with this inject moulding. He found a company in Slough who had this huge amount of old VCR decks, backs of TVs, all that type of stuff, hundreds of them. So we started to collect all this stuff. We paid a kind of pittance for it, and started to collect all this bits and pieces, where we could do repetitious stuff. The corridor itself was quite daunting, because you had to have repetition. You can't do every bay differently. And obviously the floor, plastic cargo pallets. Again, we had to, we bought several hundred of them. We then had great teams of people all over the place looking for aircraft scrap, all that type of thing. And Crispin was very fortunate that at the time, British Airways were just doing away with their ticketing computer called Birdicea. And it was made up in kind of boxes about this big. And when you took the covers off, the interior was just mind-boggling, with kind of boards and wiring and all that, you see. And he found the scrap merchant who had got the contract, and all these scrap merchants want is the gold tent and all these kind of computer terminal things. And so we managed to rent them. And they said, as far as they were concerned, we could do anything we liked with them. So suddenly, in the complex itself, we could have great banks of this. And of course, when we came to the firefight, now we could do whatever we wanted. And we always had repeats, which is very important, especially with this type of movie.